next adventure, we're going to be exploring Oblivion, a 2013 post-apocalyptic action adventure. So the story goes like this. We're immediately introduced to the main character, Jack Harper, who seems to be having a wet dream about this girl.
I whip my wet dreams back and forth.
Apparently this is a reoccurring dream about this one girl as he's sleeping next to his actual girl, Vika. I'm sorry, what the hell was that?
What were you dreaming about?
Man, the visuals are crazy in this movie, so beautiful. Anyway, Jack goes into the story of how he and Vika are the few humans that are left on Earth, because 60 years earlier, some alien things called scavengers destroyed their moon and invaded the planet. And just like in human fashion, the humans are like, okay, right, if we're gonna lose the planet, great, we're gonna burn it.
What remained of humanity had to leave the Earth.
So he and the other unlucky humans, instead of going to Titan, had to stay back. He built this big pyramid cube triangle thing called the Tet, which is basically a temporary space station before they go to Titan. Above all else, it's important that he and Vika work as a team. I swear the majority of this movie is like wallpaper. You know, I always wonder if Tom Cruise likes being in alien movies because he's into Scientology. Could just be confirmation bias, but the last 3 movies I've seen with him specifically in it are about aliens and him fighting the aliens. That is one beautiful control panel, Jesus. They actually make it look real and sleek. Anyway, Vika acts as control while he acts as the soldier. Jack and Vika's main job is to guard these big hydro rig generators that are sucking up seawater to turn into fusion energy, and this is also so they can send resources to the people in colonies on Titan. First thing I'm wondering is, why would they leave so few people to guard this stuff? I know there's not a lot of humans left, but you'd think that that's a really important thing so that they can get resources on that other planet, but whatever.
You got him, Bob? Drone 185 looks good.
Thanks!
They also have to maintain the drones that keep on falling down. While they're trying to guard the hydro rigs, you can see how they're stretched kind of thin, and it makes no sense to leave just 2 people in charge of all of the machinery in this area. While they're doing all this, they have to also report back to their boss, Sally, because, you know, while Sally is doing her thing, she has to micromanage these guys. After all, the remnants of humanity work for all the other people having fun on Titan. I'm getting some serious Old Tomorrow's vibes.
Tower 49, this is Mission Control. How y'all doing this lovely morning?
Something about this woman, their boss, just feels so impersonal and cold and robotic. It makes me feel throughout the whole entire movie that, like, is this bitch real? Is she an android? Like, why is she talking like she lacks organs? Very peculiar, very uncanny, don't like it. She keeps asking Vika if she and Jack are a team, if they're still working as a team. That's what she always asks. And I'm like, why is that such a... Also, what's in it for these people, aside from you looming the threat over their heads that they'll never come to Titan? While Jack is fixing one of the drones, he's on the comm with his girlfriend, reminiscing about Earth times and what happens, and it seems like she's completely disenchanted with the whole idea. She just wants to get off Earth, she wants to finish their mission, and get to Titan. But poor old Jack is a patriot at heart. He loves football, even though I imagine he probably has never seen it, just heard about it, or had some freaking distant memories or something. And he really doesn't want to leave. As he put it, they won the war, so why do they have to leave? While he's reminiscing, some of the aliens apparently are watching him. Frightened out of his wits, he turns around and... it's a dog. The poor thing looks so hungry. Did he even give it anything to eat? Why are they not allowed to have pets? The fact that the dog found me, so long as it wasn't sneaking up on me to eat me, I would have brought it home.
Hey. Now go on. You gotta get out of here. Go on, get out of here. Go!
Tech 49, Jack Harper.
I gotta tell you, they did the sound design for those drones so freaking well, because every time I hear those things, I want to shit myself. That is the most horrifying sound. Oh my god, these things remind me of like futuristic siren heads in ball form. Or like if Siren Head and GLaDOS had a baby, these things would be it. After Jack brings the drone back online, it scans the area, and you can tell those 2 aliens are still there, but for some reason, it doesn't register them. So I'm thinking they probably brought down, clearly they brought down this drone, or probably trying to hack it and see what happens. Those things are hella sexy, though. It's freaking cool. Looks like they're actually there, and the CGI or whatever it is they use is done so expertly. Like, I was having a hard time telling whether or not that was real. You can tell that Jack has a greater appreciation for life and just his planet in general. Of course, they had to throw Tom Cruise on a bike, some form of motorcycle. Later, Jack picks up a signal of the other drone, while some weird thing that looks humanoid watches him from the distance. He descends what looks to be the ruins of the New York Public Library. He soon finds the drone covered up, which is very peculiar, only to find out it's not the drone. Oh no, this is bad, because the aliens have set up a trap. They played a recording of the drone's noises and made it look like that was the machine. Jack tries his best to get out of there, but is caught. He narrowly escapes with his life, only to be brought back to the brink of losing it again. Why does it sound like a vibrating cell phone? Like, I like the sound design for it, but that... Come on now. Seriously? I just find that hilarious. After this thing comes to the rescue and detects the aliens, oh my gosh, it goes off.
Jack!
And at this moment, you're rooting for the drone. You're like, yeah, that's what you freaking aliens get, even though you don't look very alien to me. Then something weird happens. After it's finished engaging, it heads over to Jack as though it's trying to see if he's okay. And then it, like, straight up doesn't even recognize him, like it's having USB malfunction. You know when your computer is like, I don't recognize this USB, and you're like, bitch! And then you have to, like, wiggle it to make sure it recognizes, and then it keeps making that stupid-ass sound. The sound that drives you absolutely insane, especially when you don't even know what's causing it. Then you restart your PC and you're like, okay, it's gone. But you have that tense moment where you're so traumatized by hearing it all the time, you think you're gonna hear it again, and then you relax, and then it comes back. This scene right here is the embodiment of that. Except this thing can literally blow this guy's head off.
Jack Harper, Tech 49. Hey!
It's funny, isn't it? You can hear the fear in his voice. He's like, whoa, wait. I wonder if that was the mission control chick just trying to have a gag with him. Can you imagine your savior comes, your machine, it's like, alright, it killed off all my enemies, and then it turns on you? Anyway, after this, Jack sees a strange book, and he picks it up, almost like he's seen it before. When he gets home, he reads the book, and half the time it seems as though he's trying to connect with an older version of himself. The main character tells us at the beginning of the movie that the reason why they erased their memories is so they could focus on the mission. The only memory that they have is that they're gonna go to Titan soon after their mission is finished. But clearly, remnants of his likes in earlier life, before his memory was wiped, and before the war, still are ever present. That passage that he read, to every man upon this earth, death cometh soon or late. How can a man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? Seems to be talking about standing up against what makes you afraid, fighting for your traditions, fighting for your home. And this is very meaningful to the main character because he doesn't want to leave Earth. It's his home and he feels that it's worth fighting for. Probably also foreshadowing. While he's thinking about all of this, he looks at the plant, which kind of reestablishes what he's thinking in his mind, like this little plant came from this planet. He's never going to find anything else like it. Feeling romantic, he surprises his girlfriend with a little plant that he found. This girl is as cold and androidist as they come. Okay, androidist is the wrong word, but she obviously doesn't have any feelings. She explains later to Jack that there could have been toxins at the plant, and she wants to get off this planet, and she doesn't want him putting everything at risk when they're right at the end, even though it was a romantic gesture. Her personality type clearly is weak when it comes to social interactions or how to talk to people. She could have at least shown appreciation for what Jack did and then later say, honey, I love this so much, but we can't keep it here. We have to throw it out. I cannot get over the visual pleasure of this movie. Look at all these wallpaper-worthy scenes. What happens, though, if, like, all your machines malfunction and you can't get to the bottom? I mean, it's smart that they're up in the sky, so probably the aliens can't get to them, but you know what I mean? Jack is obviously still peeved about what happened earlier, but more so, he's more pensive and tells Vika that he doesn't think that the alien scabs were trying to kill him. He thinks they were trying to capture him. She tries to keep him distracted by,
I sound like a 14-year-old, but my boobs are huge!
I'll fucking do it again.
Then they do the do. Before they do, he tells her he has a secret place that he wants to show her, but she doesn't seem interested in anything he has to show her except for flesh. And while he's under the water, he's not with Vika, but with the girl from his dreams. Talk about a wet dream. As they awake, Jack and Vika hear and see a large explosion. Oh no! One of the hydro rigs had been destroyed. Jack goes to check it out, while Sally is very disappointed in the both of them. Sally tells Vika very firmly that their job is to run the rigs, the people at the station, meaning her and her crew, while Vika and Jack down there are supposed to guard them, which makes no sense because, as Vika puts it, you didn't give them enough drones and shit to do their job. I really can't get over the shots in this movie. They're so freaking beautiful and dystopian, like they capture all of that. To make things more interesting, Jack picks up an unknown signal on the map and heads towards it with his dick machine. Jack discovers that the alien, the scabs, apparently are using the Empire State Building's antenna to transmit some sort of signal to outer space, probably to call for backup. Being there triggers those memories that he keeps having. The one of his life before his memory was erased, that, you know, that's not supposed to happen. It's all tied to that one woman he keeps dreaming of. Jack disables the transmitter, and this is where we see the radiation zone. I wonder if later we're gonna find out that over there's not actually radioactive and he can go there. After he gets his chores done for a while, Jack says he's gonna go offline for a second. When he dips below this little valley or canyon, apparently the connection is lost, which is something you would think that the station would account for so that doesn't happen. Nobody can track him, not even Vika. Come to find out, he has a secret place where he just goes to be alone. It's a secret cabin, and we find out he's been collecting all these memorabilia from Earth's past. Here, he feels normal, like Earth used to be. He talks to his fish, and he just enjoys the old American wilderness. You kind of understand now why he doesn't want to leave. No place is ever gonna feel like home ever again if he leaves the planet. Jack is unceremoniously woken up when he finds out that something is crashing through the atmosphere, straight to the coordinates of the Empire State Beacon.
Down at coordinates sent by a scav beacon. My tech's en route now.
Tower, we're going offline soon, but drones are already mobile and executing. Have your tech stand down.
Copy.
Pretty weird that Sally doesn't want them going over there. Of course, Jack is like, hell to the no, I'm disobeying all the orders. Sally can tell me herself, which apparently she doesn't have the ability to do while he's in his jet. Vika's like, look, the drones are already there. I can't help you if you go there, dude. But Tech 49, aka Jack Harper, is not listening. When Jack gets to the site, he discovers something so astonishing. He's thinking this is a scav thing that they brought down, a scav ship or something. But all he sees are pods on the ground, and inside one of these pods is the woman from his dreams. He tells Vika they're human. These pods are human. So imagine the horror that Jack and Vika face when they realize that the drones are killing the humans. Things that are supposed to be protecting human beings are killing human survivors. Jack tries to tell the drones to stand down, but they don't listen. They kill all the survivors and then head to the inside where he's keeping the woman. Jack stands in front of her pod, and because he is there blocking the signal, well, the drone is like, okay, well, I can't kill him, so I guess I just have to leave. Jack is very brave, because he starts shooting the drone, and I'm thinking that as he's shooting this drone, that thing is going to take his head off. But the drone is just like, what the frick is your problem?
No! God!
Thankfully, the drone backs off, and Jack carries the girl, who is still unconscious in her pod, back to his headquarters in the sky. Unbeknownst to the main character, though, he was about to get shot by what we're supposed to think are aliens that look eerily like humans. But one of the other aliens in his garbled speech says, no, don't kill him, for some strange reason. It's not hard to figure out that these aliens are the good guys, and whoever the station people are up there in the space are probably the bad guys. Or the aliens are not really aliens, since, again, they look eerily human. Vika is in shock. After they open up the woman's pod, while treating her, she vomits up her breathing fluid. Because apparently she's been in Delta sleep for 60 years. And then she utters the word, Jack. It It's so freaking overwhelmingly obvious that this chick is Jack's lover or his girlfriend or his wife or somebody from his past. Which now makes you wonder what the hell is going on and who's being lied to. Julia keeps looking at Jack, clearly knowing him, but he has no recollection of her. Apparently she's been in stasis all this time aboard her ship called the Odyssey before the war even happened. Julia sees the two holding hands and she's like, starts to go nuts a little bit, probably laughing because she knows that very soon she's gonna have Jack once again wrapped around the walls of her opening. Vicka never had to worry about Jack leaving, but now that like they're the only human beings in this entire region and the only other human being that comes there is this really hot female that obviously likes Jack and doesn't like her, Vicka's like,
I want to go on first thing.
good luck with that, Vicka. Good luck telling a guy who has a new piece of ass that he's been dreaming about every single day show up at his doorstep to just get rid of her the next morning. Where is she supposed to go, Vicka? Aside from being Jack's secretary and communication, there's really no connection between them. And the only reason they're still together is because they're the only two humans here. Jack then asks Vicka if there was any memory that they had before the war.
Our job is not to remember. Remember?
Do you remember her?
We're supposed to think that Vicka is the bad guy because then she tells Jack this. And the way that she delivers it is like, okay, she could either be really evil or she could just be really, really jealous and wants to get rid of this other girl.
Jack, that was a scav, a beacon that brought her down. We don't know who she is or what she is.
Julia tells Jack that she needs the recorder from her ship, and before Vicka wakes up, they leave, which is like her worst nightmare. Jack tells Vicka that they've got to help her, they've got to find the recorder from her ship, and he knows he's on his own and basically turns off the comms. How horrible does that look, that he takes off with this woman as she just got there. The next morning he takes off with her to some secret place and turns off the comms so Vicka can't talk to him. I do have a feeling, though, at this point that Vicka knows exactly who that girl is. Julia retrieves the box, but they are captured by Scav. Does that not give you, like, Call of Duty vibes? I don't know. When Jack wakes up, he's being carried somewhere. Jack's ship is brought back, minus Jack and Vicka. Vicka has to also keep up appearances that everything is going fine. So when the boss calls in, she doesn't know anything is going on with any survivors. Despite being scared and very jealous, Vicka puts on a good face. Tech 49, aka Jack Harper, comes face to face with Morgan Freeman, whose voice is heard before he is seen, so you know exactly who it is. Wow, big surprise, he's human, and the aliens that Jack had been trying to get rid of all this time, that the station and the boss and the headquarters told him and all the other people, wherever they are, that these creatures are aliens, they were lying. They were humans all along that Jack was killing, that the drones were killing. Human survivors, to be exact, led by this guy, Malcolm Beach. The tech that Jack thought all this time was the space station interim that the humans built was actually the aliens. The aliens were smart enough to turn the humans against each other, humans like Jack and Victoria, to make them think that the last remnants of humanity were actually aliens. I thought that they were going to use some hallucinogenic or something to fool Jack, but Morgan Freeman, his character, claims that it's because of the helmets that they wear. They garble speech, they look funny, and it helps to block the signal so the drones don't kill them. That's why early on in the movie, when the drones scanned the inside of that little cave area, it could not detect them. Specifically, if they're not moving. The leader, Beach, wants Jack's assistance to destroy the Tet by reprogramming the drone that they took and brought down to deliver unstable fuel cells to the Tet so they can blow it up. And yes, having thought they were scavs, they are the ones that blew up the Hydro Rig, which is actually an alien machine that is scouring the Earth for its resources. The humans have been bamboozled, and now it's time to take back the planet. The reason that they took a chance in recruiting Jack for his help is because the drones only recognize him and won't hurt him. He's good at engineering the stuff, and they saw him save Julia. So he must not be a bad guy working for the aliens. Malcolm Beach also throws in a little hint about the radiation zones and exploring them. Meanwhile, Jaime Lannister is still having a lot of misgivings about trusting Tech 49. Having been very worried about him, Vic asked the boss, in a way not to set off any suspicion, to send a drone to track Jack to see where he is. It finds the hiding spot, but Malcolm's guards take it down after it kills a few of them. After Malcolm sets Julia and Jack free, Jack still not completely believing Morgan Freeman's whole story, he lets Vicka know they're okay, and she sends out the craft to get him. At the Empire State Building area, Jack knows that there's something Julia's not telling him. She goes into detail about the object, the Tet, their space station. It's not actually their space station, it's the alien craft, the alien object. That was her mission. That was all of their missions. Vicka, the girl who was pretending to be his girlfriend, was on crew with him. They apparently all knew each other. Everything he knows is a lie. Jack is having a hard time understanding what all of this means, and he just blows up.
That's impossible. Who
Are you?
I'm your wife.
What? Oh, dear God!
She tells him that he's not who he thinks he is, and something happened. Then she tries to jog his memory. The same memories that he's been having. After he remembers, there's a very sweet moment where they were actually reunited and he recognizes her. Unfortunately, the sweet, poignant moment is short-lived. When the spacecraft that Vicka sends sees them together, Vicka is completely crushed and heartbroken. I do feel kind of bad for her because I can imagine this is like a castaway situation where his wife is nowhere to be found and it's just them, and she's had his back this entire time, he's had her back, and then this woman shows up and yeah, she was his wife, but they've been together for the last how many years? But I mean, she had to have known, right? They talk about stuff. She just probably never thought that they'd ever see Julia again. Having the wrath of 1,000 serpents, when Jack gets back, of course, Vic won't let him in. She tells the boss, yeah, me and my partner are not a team anymore. I'm having problems with my tech. She must know this means that the thing is gonna kill him, and a drone comes out from underneath the tower that seems as though it's been specified for that purpose. Although Jack tries to save her, it's too late. I gotta admit, that's kind of terrifying, because that's a special kind of military drone. For some reason, it takes too long to kill him, but it's okay, because his wife saves the day. Now we know that Sally is not really their station commander, but the alien pretending to be her, a woman who actually existed in real life. Julia and Jack have to escape the other drones, and now they're fugitives. After this grand Star Wars air battle and air chase, they accidentally end up on the other side of the radiation barrier, where, funny enough, there's no radiation. There, Jack sees another technician working on a drone. I already knew before anything happened what this was gonna be. I already knew at this point in time that it was gonna be another version of himself. And surely enough, it was. Turns out the aliens were cloning these people. This guy is Jack Harper Tech 52. And after they end up fighting, Julia accidentally gets shot. Jack doesn't kill his other clone buddy and just ties him up and leaves him in the desert. Pretty sure when he wakes up, he's gonna have some questions as well, having just seen himself and the woman that he's been seeing in his dreams as well. With no failsafe in place in case one of the other clones takes over one of the other clones' regions, Jack is able to pass off as Tech 52. He goes to Tower 52, where he sees a picture of Vic and him. Vic apparently is a clone as well, and in this region, she's totally alive. After skirting her off and not making her suspect anything, he heads back to his wife with the medication. When Julia wakes up, she's at that little secret place, that cabin that he built that nobody else knows about. The clone's dilemma. He knows he's not him, but he feels like him. Julia says you basically have all his memories, so you are him. Basically her version of good enough. A man meat stick is a man meat stick, and you just happen to be the carbon copy of my husband, so it's not really cheating. Knowing the truth, Jack goes back to Malcolm, who was worried he wouldn't have come back. Jack helps them fix up the drone after having gotten the other core. But the alien boss sends other drones to attack the resistance. The alien boss, Sally, had said to Jack that he has to carry the survivor that Vic had told her about, and they would both be okay and they're gonna go home. We all know what that means. They defeat the drones and cook up their plan. Jack says his wife is to go back in the pod to go back to sleep. Why she has to be asleep, I don't know. Maybe to make it more believable. And she refuses to stay behind, even though Jack initially wanted to leave her out of the plan. He puts her in the pod to sleep, and the resistance leader, Malcolm, after being hurt through the shootout, agrees with the plan for Jack to bring her up to the alien. While he's on his way to the Tet to go meet this alien boss lady, he has a flashback of having been on Odyssey. He was the pilot of that ship. Earth had sent him and the others up there to go and figure out what this thing was.
Another day in paradise. Hey. One for history.
So it is very clear that bitch liked him, knowing he was married, knowing his wife was asleep in the pod back there. What connivery. Unfortunately for the little mission, things start to go wrong. The gravitational pull of this thing is just too much. And realizing that they're going to collide into it and they can't get out, Jack tells his sleeping wife goodbye before ejecting the back half that she's on so that she can survive. Right before Victoria and he are ingested into this big Tet thing, where they are then later killed after they are cloned. Jack has these memories as he goes inside the Tet and sees literally thousands upon thousands of little bubbles with his clones inside of them. Or should I say his fellow clones. Turns out these aliens are just machines. They're AI. Can you imagine? Some other civilization out there made these things and they went rogue and made their own civilization and are now conquering other planets.
How can a man die better?
You don't have to die, Jack. She doesn't have to die.
Everybody dies, Sally. The thing is to die well.
I was wondering how he was going to explode the thing with his wife on the ship. Turns out that Malcolm went with him instead of his wife. The alien robot thing is very upset, and that's not the survivor that he promised. Meanwhile, Jack had tricked his real wife, his actual wife, and left her on Earth with a timer for the pod to open up long after he's in space. She wanted to go with him, to die with him, but he wanted her to live. He drops her off at the little cabin so she can have everything she needs and be safe away from the drone detection. Morgan Freeman's character had said he wanted to see the look on the face of the alien when they get ready to kill them. And this badass man dies with a literal smile on his face after they blow up the Tet. Just look at him. His face is like...
Gotcha, bitch!
So everyone is what is Nickelback? What was that with that zoom? So the Tet is destroyed, causing all the attack drones to fall out of the sky. Of course, by this time, poor Julia already knows what's up, and she knows she'll never see her husband again. Just kidding. See, she had gotten pregnant after she slept with her husband, and then remember the clone that the husband left on the ground? Tech 52? Well, he comes around trying to find his wife. So now, do people not change clothes? Anyway, he finds her and she gets to have her husband and have her cake and eat it. Or have it eaten or whatever. The end. This movie yeah, it was interesting. I like sci-fi movies. I like dystopian sci-fi stuff. And it wasn't too drama-y. Drama-y. What is the adjective for drama? Dramatic. Wow. It had decent pacing. It's not really one of those movies I would say is the most memorable movie. There were a lot of questions that I feel could be answered, like what happened to all the other clones. I know we blow up the ship with all the other clones on it, but if there's a Tech 52 and a Tech 49, you know what I mean? Like, what happened to the others? Must also mean that Victoria is out there as well. Sure, you can make the argument that the alien probably killed all the others, but I don't think that's true. Remember, these aliens were using this entire globe, the entire planet, and scouring it of all its resources. I doubt they would only have these two humans to oversee the entire planet. That's why they have those barriers or zones that they parade around as radioactive areas. So that all over the world, you have different Jacks and Victorias manning these areas. Aren't those Jacks all at some point gonna go and try to find Julia, the wife? And isn't the red-haired girl gonna get upset and try to find him? Now that nobody has to answer to those aliens anymore, there's gonna be a whole bunch of these things just walking around the Earth and running into each other. And oh my god, the gene pool is gonna be so stagnant. There are a lot more of these clones, I would imagine, than the actual remnants of humanity in that region. Everyone's gonna come out looking like Tom Cruise and Victoria. Anyway, it was an okay movie. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.